Hi, Black from footballboost.co.uk, and today we're going to compare the latest two speed generations by Adidas Football, the 2015 F50 adiZero versus the new X15.1 Solo. This came out recently. If you have been wearing an F50 adiZero by Adidas and wanting to know if the X is any good, I'll just compare and go through the major features and let you know whether they're different or not. Alright, let's get straight into it and talk about the design. The 2015 F50 has this ghost graphic and is featured throughout the entire upper. In my eyes, it's a good looking boot, but it's not the greatest colorway. 3 stripes on the back. The design of the new X is relatively similar to the 2015 F50. This time around it's a Volt yellow vamp with a black trim, Adidas logo on the heel like you saw on the 2014 F50 adiZero. A weird sort of wavy geometric pattern on the sides, which is the X cage, and the sole is pretty unique. Both modern designs. I'm not going to really get into talk about the designs too much because it's all about personal preference. Let's get to the uppers. The 2015 F50 has hybrid touch, and like on the 2014 F50, this hybrid touch is much stiffer than the 2014 hybrid touch, and it's featured throughout the entire upper. It's a one-piece design. It is stiff and it's not as soft as what you see on like the Mercurial Vapors Teijin synthetic, but it is soft enough to provide a real barefoot feel. The X has an upper called X Skin, and again it's a really soft upper. It's a little bit softer than the hybrid touch, but not that much softer. It is going to provide a bit more customization to your foot type, but not really that much. On top of the uppers, on the F50 has Dribble Tex, which is just this sort of grippy feel to the ball. It's just going to provide a bit more friction between the boot and the ball, and it's going to be really good in wet conditions. And really it's more of a marketing scheme than actually a performance enhancing feature. It is grippy, but it's not going to do that much to control and touch of the ball. Whereas the X15.1 uses non-stop grip, or NSG, which again feels quite grippy in hand, but again I don't really think it's going to be great. It's going to actually help for touch and control. Maybe a little bit in wet conditions, but not really that much. Alright, one of the major differences is that the X has the Techfit collar, where the F50 has no Techfit collar. We're yet to actually review it, but I think it's a good thing that the Techfit collar's here. It's elasticated, it's going to fit snug right around your ankle. It's going to be really good for protection in that region, as well as just a really customized and locked down fit, much like what you get in the Obra or the Superfly. So the F50 doesn't have a Techfit collar whatsoever. It's just a standard low cut design. Let's talk about the sole plates. The F50 has this stud system called Speed Traction, and it's a really aggressive stud system. You've got 6 main 4-foot studs, they're blades, and you've got a lot of smaller bladed grooves and studs in the 4-foot for really aggressive traction. The heel has 3 studs, so 2 main ones and a stabilizing stud in the middle. Really aggressive sole plate. Whereas the X has a stud system called the X Claw, so you've got 4 heel studs and 6 4-foot studs. They are actually blades, and it's the reason why it's called X Claw, because it actually claws back, claws the ground really well. It's really aggressive too, and a combination of sort of squared, rectangular, smaller studs to really get good traction on artificial grounds too. So this is actually designed for firm ground surfaces and artificial grounds, which is a huge benefit. Internal heel counters, nothing really different in that department. Both going to provide a really sort of low profile lockdown of the heel. Feels the same in hand. Alright, the X cage is something which is featured on the X, but is lacked on the F50. So you got this X cage which merges with the laces. It's going to provide a really good lockdown in the midfoot region. The F50 has no sort of internal or external cage. It's probably one of the few speed boots that don't actually feature a sort of speed cage, but the X has a speed cage, which is a huge benefit. It's going to provide a much more locked down feel and fit. In terms of how they feel and the width of them, as you can see, the lasts are very similar. So they're very streamlined. It's going to fit flat and thin feet. It's not great for wide-footed players. The F50 was never a great boot for wide-footed players, and the X is the same deal. It's not going to fit the widest-footed players. Maybe if you have wide feet, you could try the K Leather X, which is going to come out too by Adidas Football. And in terms of sizing, true to size is the way to go. No problems in that department. And yes, they both feature central lacing. So essentially, the X is the next generation F50. It's got a lot of new features like the Techfit collar and the X cage, as well as the sole plate designed for artificial grounds as well. So in my eyes, I think the X is a solid improvement from the 2015 F50 adiZero. Both have their downfalls with fit, as in they're not going to fit the widest foot types. They are speed boots, so expect the likes of Gareth Bale and Suarez, Karim Benzema to wear the X. They were headline players to wear the F50, and yeah, in terms of player uptake, it's going to be exactly the same. So yeah, that's our comparison. Price-wise, they're very similar. I feel like the X is a solid improvement, as I just said, over the F50, and I think Adidas Football have done well in the sort of marketing side of things with the X. They've given Bale, essentially one of the fastest players in the game, he will be the headline player to wear these, and it shows. Alright, that's our comparison of the two latest speed boots by Adidas Football. Thanks for watching. We have reviews of the X coming on the channel very soon, if it's not up already. And thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you next time.